Tonight on Cronkite News, the Toronto Raptors snapped the Phoenix Suns' 7-game win streak. What the drop in momentum could mean for their future in the in-season tournament.
Plus, you have heard his voice on the radio for an ASU sporting event. Meet the man who's been behind the mic for more than 25 years.
And the unique competition making a splash in the Southwest, not only with their skills, but with their culture.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Beatrice Martinez.
And I'm Paul Schultz. Thank you for joining us.
The Phoenix Suns were on a promising run, winning their last 7 games until Wednesday night's loss to the Toronto Raptors.
On one end, some stars continue to shine, but on the other end, there's still lingering concerns about if the Suns can be a true NBA championship contender. Devin Booker caught up with some old friends during pregame warmups. Suns center Jusuf Nurkic started the first half strong with 10 points, including this grown man slam. But the Suns were still down 7 at halftime, and it was a slow start for Booker, who scored only 8 points before going to the locker room with an apparent ankle injury. But the Suns end up tying it at 72 with more than 4 minutes left in the third, and here comes Kevin Durant. Nurkic gave him the alley-oop to take the lead. Durant finished with another 30-point game, but it wouldn't be enough for the road win. Raptors take this one 112 to 105. There's still a lot of basketball left to be played, but let's take a look at where the Suns stand in the inaugural in-season tournament. The bracket is officially set, and it's time for the knockout rounds, raising the stakes even higher for each game. Phoenix earned the West wildcard spot and will face the Los Angeles Lakers in the West semifinals on Tuesday. If the Suns win, they'll take on either the Kings or the Pelicans December 7th, and the championship game will be played on December 9th in Las Vegas.
Now to college basketball, the Arizona State Sun Devils were back at home last night after a trip to Las Vegas over the holiday weekend where they lost to BYU and defeated Vanderbilt. ASU came out firing on all cylinders against Sam Houston, led by their defense, which held the Bearcats to about 35% shooting from the field. The Devils were also solid in transition, tallying 28 fast break points and 18 points off turnovers. For the third time this season, the offense saw 4 players reach double figures in points, including Jose Perez, Jemiah Neal, Frankie Collins, and Alonzo Gaffney. Perez led the team with 24 points. The 6'5" guard joined the team just over a month ago after sitting out the entire 2022-23 season. Following the game, he explained what motivated the Sun Devils in their most dominant performance of the season.
BYU punched us in the mouth. No talking about it. They're a really good team, but we're a really good team, I feel like, and we just haven't played up to our potential just yet. Still rusty, if I'm being honestly speaking. And I'm playing with a little injury. So my man right here trusts me, and I trust him to make the right plays.
After hearing the same voice for 26 years, Sun Devil fans have gained a love and appreciation for the man known by many ASU fans as the voice.
That's right. Cronkite News reporter Evan Reiser spoke with members of the Sun Devil Radio Network crew, including the man himself, Tim Healy.
As a fan of college athletics, consistency can be hard to find. But as a fan of the Sun Devils, you simply just need to look to the booth. Tim Healy has been the voice of ASU football, basketball, and baseball for over a quarter century now, and in that time has cemented himself as a true staple in Arizona State sports.
As somebody who grew up in the Valley, I'm from here, he is Sun Devil Athletics. His voice is Sun Devil Athletics. There was a couple of games when he had to leave. He had some medical issues and he was gone for a few games, and it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like I was listening to an ASU broadcast because that voice wasn't there.
He's the voice, you know, any highlight, any big play throughout the years, you can go back and remember his call or think of his call in your head. And I think, you know, for most people, you know, when they're rewatching highlights, yeah, it's great to see, you know, the stuff on TV, but I think you can always hear what Tim said in your head.
Tim's unique ability on the mic in a variety of sports and shows finds a way to make every listener feel engaged.
Not only football, but also as the voice of basketball and baseball and the Anderson Healy Show and Sparky's Den. When you hear Tim Healy's voice, you have a sense of nostalgia and that you have a friend that is talking to you and not just a broader audience.
While Tim sticks to sports, some of his calls have made appearances in some of the biggest life moments of former player and now current partner, Kyle Dodd.
That's how long I've been around. I broadcast his games when he was in college. In fact, Kyle, at his wedding reception, played my call of his game-winning three-pointer in overtime to win a game at Washington State in January of 2000. And that's one of my great honors, is to be part of his wedding reception with my call of one of his great moments.
With how much Tim means to ASU athletics, it's only fitting that one of his career milestones came on the night of an unforgettable Sun Devil football moment.
Here we go, 7 seconds. Bercovici, he's just going to air it out deep downfield, and no white shirts around. Oh, Jalen Strong! Caught for a touchdown! Jalen Strong makes the catch for the touchdown, and the Sun Devils have won the game.
The side story to that is that game happened to be a milestone for me. It was my 200th radio broadcast of a Sun Devil football game. And I eventually was given the game ball by Coach Todd Graham.
As Tim looks to the future, being the voice of ASU, change in college athletics is on the horizon, but the voice coming through the radio will remain the same. In Tempe, Evan Reiser, Cronkite News.
And with that, we take you to the Sun Devils' busy sports schedule this weekend. Wrestling is headed to Nevada for a two-day match at the Cliff Keen Las Vegas Invitational. Women's basketball will host the inaugural Brianne January Classic this weekend, featuring Pacific and Xavier. Sun Devil volleyball is headed to Provo, Utah, getting ready to face Georgia in the first round of the NCAA championships. And men's ice hockey travels to Colorado Springs to face Colorado College on Friday and Saturday.
Meanwhile, Mountain America Stadium will play host to the high school football state championships. Starting on Friday, Canyon del Oro and Yuma Catholic play for the 4A title, while Higley and Desert Ridge battle it out in 5A. On Saturday, Cinderella story Red Mountain will try to knock off third-seeded Saguaro in 6A, and then the Big Open Division Championships pits top-seeded Liberty against Centennial.
Coming up next, athletes endure many challenges on their quest to play at the professional level.
And this local golfer tells us his story on what it takes to make it to the PGA Green.
And if you haven't noticed yourself, the weather in Arizona is finally changing. Stick around for what you can expect in the upcoming week.
What Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized, individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
The Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communications Phoenix Sports Bureau provides students with hands-on learning experiences and opportunities in sports journalism. From covering local high schools, colleges, and the pros, students get the opportunity to go live from our Facebook shows covering local, collegiate, and pro sports in the Valley. From digital reporting, broadcast, social media, and producing, there's opportunities for all. For more, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
For many, Arizona is considered the mecca for golf in the United States, and for some, it's the perfect spot to jumpstart a professional career in the sport. Cronkite News reporter Ryan Bunnell spoke with a current amateur and former pro to discover what it takes to reach the pinnacle of golf.
Although golf is considered a relaxing, leisure-like activity for some, the grind to transform a hobby into career is no gimme. Take former Oregon Duck Chapin Pedersen, for example, who uprooted his life in the Pacific Northwest to pursue a professional golf career here in the desert. The 27-year-old has been playing ever since he knew how to hold a club, yet faces an array of challenges in his multi-year pursuit to reach golf's highest levels.
I would say it's one of the most difficult sports to turn pro in just because of the financial side. Golf is so expensive in the mini tours. You're not guaranteed anything in golf. And so if you're not playing well, it gets expensive in a hurry.
So a lot of people, they see the pros, they see them at the pinnacle, but they don't see what it takes to get there. What are the hardest challenges? What are some of the things you have to overcome in this journey of grinding through the amateur scene to get to the pros?
It's really hard, especially in golf, to jump all the way to the top level. There's very few people that have done it. Even a lot of champions on the PGA Tour now had to go through one of the qualifying tours.
According to the Professional Athlete Index, only 1 of every 51,346 become a professional golfer in the United States. One former pro and current golf analyst knows firsthand the sheer amount of hard work that goes into earning a PGA Tour card.
You're talking about tens of thousands of very qualified golfers playing for 125 spots on the PGA Tour. It's extraordinarily difficult. You have to be ridiculously talented. You have to be the most dedicated athlete, and you have to have stone cold belief in yourself.
Whereas other sports are typically associated with team aspects, golf is unique in the sense that it's just you.
Golf is it's a single sport. You're alone. It's just you and those golf balls. You do extraordinary things through obsession. I mean, you have to be obsessed with it.
And Pedersen can attest to this type of infatuation with the game.
If I take any sort of time off for the game, it can just be a few days, and it's killing me. So it's just always that passion and desire that I have that really pushes me. My mind almost doesn't let me stop.
While skill might get you far, the ability to overcome failure is what separates the field of hopeful individuals looking to make it big.
The players that make it to the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour, they're not the most talented. They're the ones who persevere the most. They're the ones who just don't quit.
In Phoenix, Ryan Bonnell, Cronkite News.
While the grind for a PGA Tour card is still in the works for Pedersen, he has no intentions of slowing down anytime soon.
More than 290 outrigger teams from across the world met in Parker, Arizona in November for an annual race.
That's right, Paul. The Another Dam race is a chance to get outside on the water and celebrate traditional cultures. Cronkite News reporter Kevin Jonah Pagillo was there and brings us the story.
Let's go. Forward.
I think it was wonderful to have everyone there that represent what we call Ohana Kava'a. We are the family of the canoe. I think we're just great to have Tahiti and everyone else from Hawaii and every parts of the mainland. So having Arizona, California. We also had a team from Montana. So it was really great.
So there's an energy and a drive and a want to perpetuate the sport, to share that mana and the aloha that is building family, creating. I keep going back to an energy and mana. There's nothing like it. And when I see all the people out there to come to Arizona, when I was told it wouldn't be anything, and to see what we have today is, oh my gosh, it's amazing.
59 and over here. 59 and over here.
At this event, you can see that all the youth, we are passing on the knowledge to them.
When you pass down your culture, your history, and the kids embrace it and grow with it, there's nothing more proud to know that our youth, especially with what's going on today with technology and all the other outside, for them to be involved in something physical, something that a lot of it is from their heritage, truly. And then just the love of water and being outdoors.
Well, it might be a little too chilly now to be out on the water about these next few days.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. And not to mention, there's a good chance we could get some rain. Evan Reiser is here with us now to tell us what Mother Nature is sending our way.
That's right. It's not going to be the perfect weekend to kick off December. Going to be chilly, and we could see some rain as we approach tomorrow, or as we approach next week. All right, as we take a look right now, we can see it at 62 degrees, and it will cool off through the evening, touching down into the 50s at 9 p.m. And even at 10 p.m., we could see some showers. So if you're going to be out late night, maybe bring an umbrella. Looking at tomorrow, we can see the low temperatures. It's going to be cold. 47 degrees here in Phoenix, 40 in Tucson, 33 in Tombstone. And as we move north, make sure you bring a jacket. 14 up at the Grand Canyon, 21 in Flagstaff, and 33 in Sedona. And it's not going to be too much warmer with the high temperatures. High of 65 here in Phoenix, 61 in Tucson, and 37 up in Flagstaff. As we take a take a deep dive into our weekend, we'll see some clouds tomorrow and into Saturday, but you can wave goodbye to them on Sunday. It'll be a clear end of your weekend before we get into next week. Taking a look at next week in our 8-day forecast, you can see 65 degrees as the high on Friday with some cloud coverages. Those clouds will start to dissipate on Saturday and be completely gone by Sunday with a high of 69. And then we will see those clouds come back at 72 degrees on Monday, and they'll start to disappear by Wednesday. We'll get back into the 80s, 82 on Wednesday, 80 on Thursday, and then go back to the 70s with a high of 76 on Friday. In the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Evan Reiser.
Thank you, Evan. Coming up next, the latest agreements between Israel and Hamas, including an extension to the ceasefire in Gaza.
And we also bring you a story a little closer to home with a local family-owned bridal shop closing its doors for the last time after decades.
Here at the TV Production and Graphics Lab, we are behind the scenes making the news happen. Gain experience in the control room directing, teledirecting, and rolling the audio of every Cronkite News show. Run the floor and work in a professional environment, honing your skills for the future. Create graphics that will be seen by the local community on Arizona PBS. Be a part of the bloodline that makes the Cronkite News shows possible.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
I'm Deanna Pistono, and here are the latest headlines. The ceasefire in Gaza between Israel and Hamas was extended by one additional day early this morning. Officials from both sides issued statements saying the pause in military action will continue for a seventh day. This is the second time the pause has been extended since the original four-day truce that started Friday. Since then, many hostages have been released by Hamas, and 210 Palestinians were released from Israeli jails, according to officials. The ceasefire also has allowed much-needed humanitarian aid to enter the Gaza region. Meanwhile, in the U.S., the yearly lighting of the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree in New York was met by a large pro-Palestine rally. Hundreds of supporters gathered near the event. At least 4 people were arrested after 2 separate incidents outside of the ceremony. So far, the New York Police Department has prevented protesters from making it to the tree. Back here in the Valley, a trailblazing former ASU professor has inspired thousands of students and created a unique space for Latinos in her classroom. Reporter Roxanne De La Rosa spoke with the poet as she celebrates her 82nd birthday this year.
El día
A mariachi serenades Margarita Cota Cardenas to celebrate her 82nd birthday. Cota Cardenas was a single mom, is a feminist, and the first Chicano literature professor at Arizona State University. She was 20 years old when she found an old typewriter at a thrift store.
It was covered with dust, a little bit of grime, and I asked the guy, he comes out, I said, does this work? And he said, yes, I think so. So we tried it, hunt and peck, and it worked. And that's Malinche. She's been a buddy. She's my accomplice too.
She named her typewriter Malinche after the indigenous woman who translated for Spanish conquistadors. For years, the stories have flowed out of her fingers in both Spanish and English. Cota Cardenas uses her voice and personal experiences to write about abortion, immigration, and racial injustice.
When we were little, in my hometown, we were scared of the immigration. And we were American born.
Although her hands are affected by arthritis, she still finds peace in writing.
La inmigración. Ya he opinado, un ser humano no puede ser ilegal. En todo este tu mundo es otra manera más de descontrolar.
There are no rules or boundaries to her storytelling. Cota Cardenas uses words playfully and skillfully in both languages, which is rare for a Chicano writer. Former student Alberto Olivas remembers how Cota Cardenas made him feel.
She seemed more like a member of your family, someone that was really glad to see you every time you came to class. Really saw you. I don't know how to explain that. You really felt seen in her classes and loved.
Her advice to future generations?
Write what you know. Write what you feel. Write what you see. But do right. We're witnesses. We're still witnesses.
Cota Cardenas says writing and speaking in Spanish keeps her connected to her soul and her roots. In Phoenix, Roxanne de la Rosa, Cronkite News.
And the family-operated business Azteca Bridal in Phoenix closed its doors for the last time today after 60 years. The business was a staple in the Phoenix bridal and quinceañera industry. Founders Kay and Adolfo Torres opened the shop in 1962 and began selling quinceañera dresses nearly 10 years later as the demand for them grew with the Latino population in Arizona. Azteca Bridal remained family-owned for the entirety of its operation. And that's it for the latest headlines in the newsroom. I'm Deanna Pistono, Cronkite News. Now back to Beatrice and Paul.
Thank you, Deanna. And coming up, more giant pandas are returning home to China.
The next country saying goodbye to their giant pandas after 12 years, coming up after the break.
Three, 2, 1. Cronkite News. Get real professional experience in areas such as reporting, broadcast editing, and behind-the-scenes production, such as technical director and audio.
Kill the mics.
Or go out in the field and cover important local stories.
Learn and master the English language.
In a fun, welcoming atmosphere. Cronkite News. The future starts now.
What Cronkite News means to me is opportunity.
We do news right at Cronkite News, serving a community ethically, honestly, and truthfully.
And we can provide a necessarily different angle, different voice for those people that really need it.
The students, they have a lot of passion for journalism.
I get to do a lot of stories about the Hispanic community.
And we have access to cover all of these sorts of events and get media coverage of all these different personalities and athletes, and that's just a huge thing.
But it's also a chance for people here to be humanized, individuals of all walks of life.
Cronkite News will help take the next generation of journalists onto their next careers.
I am old enough to remember Walter Cronkite.
We're putting a lot of pride on his name because we are practicing a lot of the things that he did.
I think he'd be smiling from ear to ear.
I.
We are Cronkite.
Find out what's on Arizona PBS at azpbs.org/schedule.
Earlier this month, the U.S. National Zoo said goodbye to its 3 giant pandas as they returned home to China.
And now another country is having to say farewell as their agreement with the China Wildlife Conservative Association ends after 12 years.
Yang Guang and Tian Tian are set to leave the Edinburgh Zoo of the Royal Zoological Society in Scotland in early December. The 2 pandas arrived in Scotland in 2011 for a 10-year trip, but stayed 2 more years because of the pandemic.
And while Chinese President Xi Jinping said his government is ready to continue loaning pandas outside of China, the zoo said it does not plan to bring in any more.
Yeah, we say goodbye to the pandas. Our last time be anchoring together on Cronkite News. It's been a fun run.
Yes, it has. That's it for Cronkite News. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Special thanks to our production crew, Mick Lofton, Jacob, and Hannah, for their hard work all semester long.
Absolutely. And to see top Arizona stories anytime, you know where to go. Log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.